how people respond and how the narratives change or don't change in response to that. So I sort of see that as being very interesting from two angles. I mean, I really do like the question. I don't want to use the word interesting question. I think that interesting could be meaning anything. And I think it's important to say, well, I like that because I hadn't thought about it. And I think you're onto something quite important there. That is where, you know, it's almost like it's like action research, isn't it? I mean, action research, some people critique it because they say, oh, it's just management consulting. It's clearly not. And it's way underused in accounting, probably because it's sort of suspected of being, you know, a bit dangerously close to consulting. But it is actually a sort of almost an action research type of issue. That I think deserves that sort of approach in some respects.
We maybe have got one question online. So I'll just ask Rodrigo, can you unmute and ask very quickly your question and then...
Yeah, thank you, Lee, for the wonderful presentation. Actually, I was just wondering about the amount of data that is publicly available in annual reports and before, after crisis, for instance, COVID, also social media. Would you have any further thoughts in that regard, how we can use these images and films and representations, accounts for the public in that regard?
Sure. Thanks, Rodrigo. And in fact, some of that's been done to a reasonable degree, looking at, for instance, visual representations in annual reports. I think of John Burns at University of Exeter, who's done work in the past on visual representations of accountants in advertising material. So the use of static photographs in publications like annual reports, professional adverts, and, you know, to some degree in professional websites is something that's been used as primary data, or it's been used as secondary alongside with the text. So that sort of external representation, and you know, I think there's a lot more room to use it, for instance, in the social environmental management and accountability areas too, and it's been underused somewhat in that respect, because when one looks at social environmental reports, particularly on web data, there's a lot of usage of that.